Good morning and welcome. I'm Jesse Ramdale with headline news here on CNC3 and the TBC Radio Network. It sounds like a scene straight out of a Hollywood blockbuster, but for residents in Plymouth, Tobago, it was a terrifying reality. A crew of bandits, including one appeared to be dressed as Batman, used a stolen backhoe to tear into a First Citizens ABM in the dead of night on Tuesday. Police say bandits first held up 3 estate constables at a THA facility in Corland and stole a backhoe and a van. They then drove less than 3 kilometers to Shelbourne Street. Using the arm of the backhoe, the thieves broke the wall of the building and dislodged the vault in mere minutes. However, CCTV footage showed the caped bandit and the others struggling to lift the vault onto the getaway van. After 10 minutes, the frustrated thieves jumped into a vehicle without the loot and escaped. Police found the stolen van abandoned on Adventure Trace. While most residents have condemned the act, they believe the brazenness show how desperate people have become. In other news, criminologist Dr. Randy Supersad says the recent United Kingdom Home Office reports revelation that there are 186 gangs with approximately 1,750 members operating in Trinidad and Tobago was not intended to be a criticism. Instead, he says, it was designed to help UK authorities assess asylum claims from Trinidad and Tobago nationals who cite gang violence as a reason for seeking protection. The report says gangs were linked to nearly 44% of murders in 2024 and about 1/3 of murders in 2025. It also identified major gang groupings and noted the rise of splinter gangs and independent criminal networks. Dr. Sipasad says the figures contained in the report are based on credible and well-documented sources, including intelligence reports and previous research on gangs in the country.
The report is simply an attempt to say this is what we are looking for, this is what we are going to assess your asylum claim based on, and anything that doesn't fall within those particular parameters is something that just wouldn't fit to be a credible threat to be considered for asylum in the United Kingdom. So it is a document that is of value to immigration lawyers in the UK.
And despite homicides climbing by 50% in the North Central Division, police say serious crimes overall are down by 9%. At Wednesday's weekly briefing, Senior Superintendent Vernley Gift accredited astute policing and preventative detention orders under the state of emergency for helping drive that reduction. Pressed on the rise in murders, Gift explains that most of the increase came from non-gang related killings.
What we have observed in the North Central Division with regards to the homicide that we have recorded thus far is that most of the homicides, the motive behind most of the homicides are because of altercation and disputes among people.
Well, stay tuned for another news update and comprehensive coverage of our midday news and a major newscast at 7 p.m. on CNC3 and across all digital platforms.
Good Thursday morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Today, Thursday, the 25th of June, 2026. As I look at the front page of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, there is lots to unpack. We're going to get into some of the details this morning. Of course, the police and news segment, a regular part of the Thursday's installment. Johanse steps in from, I would say, 7:05, 7:06, thereabout for our mental health matters. We have the Business Guardian breakdown. Ian Wason, my colleague from the newsroom, he steps in for the morning shot. Certainly that deep analysis and look at sport, and the World Cup is heating up. South Africa, they're through to the round of 32. What a big win for South Africa yesterday. I'll let Ian give you the schedule and rundown for the games today, but indeed, sit back, relax. We're going to keep it warm on this rather cold Thursday morning as we get the ball rolling for the latest installment of your Morning Brew. See you soon. All right. Well, As mentioned, good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Thursday morning, indeed. Jason Williams signing on. Let me put this swipe away. It is time to get the ball rolling. Good morning to the entire team. Good morning to you and yours. Let's have ourselves a productive Thursday. We jump immediately into the front page of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, and this story broke yesterday. A major talking point yesterday, today, and it will continue to be a hot topic. As we see here, big and bold, businessman and wife detained, cops search Westmoreland's home and Blue Water's Trin City complex, but no charges laid. Of course, the story develops more here on page 5. We're seeing a picture here of a security guard closing the gate at the Blue Waters factory in Tacarigua yesterday. And I know there is lots of questions, probably more questions than answers. And one of the questions, I know we are under SOE, and I'm hearing via the police release yesterday that a search warrant was issued, or at least they had to go through paperwork. And I'm trying to figure out, well, you know, the distinction really, because I know in SOE there's supposed to be this almost free reign to run in. So again, these are questions. And obviously the big question here is, well, with some of the utterances recently, and it's no secret, we're not living in we're not living down Gasperi Cave, we're not living up El Ticush on a mountaintop with using a satellite phone. We're here on the mainland. And there would have been lots of utterances by public officials, government officials, and I kind of find the timing and all what's taking place here to be rather peculiar, rather interesting. So I will hold on, I will listen, I would look at obviously some of the details that will come into the public domain, and as the story unfolds, I think I will give a deeper commentary on this next week. And of course, I would love to hear from you also when we open the lines. Not too sure if we're getting a chance to treat with that today, but indeed, listen, the law must take its course, and no one, and we say no one when we talk about the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, is beyond reach, and obviously the authorities must do what they got to do. But again, I'm just looking at some of the utterances, and I'm just suggesting here that if this is the energy, it must be maintained across the board. What is good for the goose must be good for the gander. And at the end of the day, as mentioned, no one is beyond reach. No one is above the parameters of the law. But it's just really interesting, some remarks that would have been made within recent time. There's this big talk of a list, and they have names, and listen, we find ourselves in some most interesting times in this twin island state, Trinidad and Tobago. But again, if you want to read more and really do that deeper dive, I want you to check out page 5 inside today's Guardian, the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. I'm also seeing here on page 7, as we stay within the law and political bacchanal, as we say, commerce. TNTech threatens a legal action against Scotland. Member of Parliament, Keith Scotland, that story here on page 7. So it's again to treat with some of the utterances. Remember in Parliament, a big list. They call out names, and then there was another infraction that they levied towards MP Scotland. And he would have gone on the public record suggesting, well, make these claims outside the Parliament now, if you're big and bad. And now I'm seeing TNTech threatening legal action against Scotland over a $2.4 million debt claim. And I could tell you, let me tell you, this is heating up. You know, this is one that I show Mr. Scotland, who is, you know, a man within the legal, he's a, well, I don't know if to say a legal luminary, but very respected in that particular sphere. So that's going to be an interesting court development. But I would imagine by now all eyes would have seen, and we would have had a little laugh with that heist in Tobago, where Batman was trying to do some robbing, no pun intended. what's going on in the country that men could sit down, gather around a table or on a block or wherever, come up with this particular blueprint, steal a backhoe, take said backhoe to the ATM, rip it out. You have the footage at all. I mean, this is one for the ages. Tobago bandits use backhoe in failed ATM heist. Let me tell you, it was making the social media rounds yesterday, and never a dull moment. Now, obviously, I don't think they got into the said ATM, but what an attempt. Not applauding in any way what was done, but that takes some real belly. It takes fortitude. It takes, I guess, a team that is willing to, I mean, that's the level of desperation, men using backhoe, a stolen backhoe, to plow out an ATM, and a man dressed in a Batman suit. Well, I tell you. I mean, look at this. Look at this. This full Batman kit. This man was watching, he's watching Dark Knight. And then he happened to fall down. It was a comedy of errors. Right? Tobago, who is that? Who is that, Tobago? And don't tell me. I know some of my Tobago friends might say, hey, well, you know, does your Trini do that? You know, listen, we don't know. Who they say is Batman? Listen to me. Look at this piece of excitement now. Okay, so fellas, you take the ATM. What are you going to do now? That's the big question, right? You get the ATM out, you pull out the ATM, concrete, glass on the floor, splinters everywhere. What's the next move? Totish. What a shambles. You can't make up this stuff, you know. I mean, this Trinidad and Tobago, it is indeed a movie. Yeah, subscribe. Yeah, it's probably playing right now on Netflix because some of what's happening, it's unbelievable. So again, that front page, a big talking point this morning. And now we pivot to the back page. England ends the Windies run. Remember, we were beating people pell-mell, you know, in this T20 World Cup, the women. Well, England put a little halt. However, we're still very much in the mix, so I'll let Ian elaborate some more, and he will go into a deeper World Cup analysis when he steps in from 7:30. Let's head to our brief on this Thursday morning. Port of Spain marks 112 years. It's the 112th anniversary with City Day Parade, always a mainstay for the school children. You're seeing the military personalities stepping out. You're seeing the military-led academic training program, TTPS, man on horseback. So it was nice. Beautiful parade. They start at the Savannah, head down Frederick Street towards City Hall. You know, it's a full spectacle. And, you know, a chance to celebrate the city and all those who work and live in the space. Congratulations, Port of Spain. 112th anniversary with the City Day Parade. Full details inside today's Guardian. Our Business Guardian breakdown is happening right now. So stick around. We get in touch with Peter Christopher. He joins me next. Then later on, our Police and News segment. A great first hour ahead. See you soon.
Gaming Express Limited is a premium importer and retailer of the highest quality brand name electronics. We stock the widest range of PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, Samsung, and Apple devices and accessories. Visit us at Shop 52, Level 2, Gulf City Mall in San Fernando, or contact us by phone or WhatsApp message at 687-7480 or 301-9797 or 798-1280. Like our Facebook and Instagram pages for updates on products and services.
Welcome to Holiday Inn Express and Suites.
Do enjoy, Stacey. You want some coffee?
Can I have a bit?
Perfect then.
That's exactly what we need.
Hey, the pool is this way.
Whatever you're here for,
We're here for you. Stay smart at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites.
Hey, man. Where are you? Okay. He said 5 minutes. Anyone want dessert? Maybe he's stuck at the office?
Surprise!
Not yet, Carl.
Bro, I'm literally at the altar right now.
Relax. I'm almost there.
We're like the friend who isn't always late.
You have the rings.
CG United. Good like that.
Is reliable, credible, and authentic. Thank you for trusting me to bring you the news. It's a privilege to be in your homes and hearts. With every story and every newscast, CNC3 is keeping you informed and inspired. When it comes to news, we are where you are.
Well, it's time for our Business Guardian Breakdown. Peter Christopher joins me on the Zoom line. Good morning, Pete. Great to see you as always, and welcome.
Good morning to you, and good morning to Trinidad and Tobago and all your viewers across the world.
That's right. So I'm looking at some of the big stories, and the front page speaks to this Agostini buyout of Prestige Holdings. Apparently, it's near completion. What's the latest?
Well, actually, according to a notice in the newspaper today, or yesterday actually, and reporting today, it is closed up, is about to close out entirely. But Keisha Colessa Alonso would have, reviewed the fact that the Fair Trade Commission, which was for a long period the main hold-up in this matter, because the sale would have been announced, or this acquisition would have been announced last year, but despite Agostini getting the required stakeholding almost a year now, they were waiting approvals from the Fair Trading Commission to, get that regulatory approval to make sure that they could secure the acquisition. The Fair Trade Commission was without a board for almost a year as well, almost 10 months if I remember correctly. They would have only established their board in April, and Sogisha Colessa Alonso had an interview with the executive director of the Fair Trade Commission, Bevan Reinting, and they discussed this topic about the Prestige acquisition and what it would mean given that Agostini is such a vast conglomerate, and given that Prestige being the restaurant management company that owns Starbucks, KFC, Subway, Pizza Hut, TGI Fridays, what it would mean for the market, if it would indeed be unfair for the market if this process went through. So that discussion was had. There was also some discussions about the HCC contract that was cancelled, and as well as certain things under the Telecommunications Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. So it's a very encompassing story that goes beyond just the Prestige takeover by Agostini.
Would you say this is one of the biggest, would you say this is one of the biggest? I wouldn't say it's not so much a merger; it's a takeover. One of the biggest takeovers in recent business history.
It's a major business deal in the local market, given the brand recognition of the companies. But it's the Agostini brand and Prestige have some connections. They were under the same parent company, so it was seen as a strategic alliance within that group. So it would allow for certain resources to be twinned between the companies. So it is going to be significant in the local market. Agostini has promised that it's not going to squeeze out the remaining shareholders of Prestige Holdings. So it remains to be seen exactly how the merger will facilitate some of the things that are already in train. But from the Agostini end, it's seen as a strategic move.
You know, I want to go a little bit deeper down into the Business Guardian this morning, and I'm seeing Brent put forward a story. You know, he is one that loves to travel. He's a roving reporter, as it will. And I know anything to do with jet fuel and flying would be up his alley, and he brought forward a most interesting piece speaking to regional airlines being a bit anxious over jet fuel volatility. And you know, that's a big concern, Peter, the fact that it's sometimes cheaper to head to Miami and New York compared to, let's say, a Jamaica or St. Kitts. And the reality is St. Kitts and Jamaica, just like us, they're washed by the Caribbean Sea, they're closer compared to, you know, Miami or New York, which is further north.
Yes, he would have attended the International Air Transport Association event last month, or earlier this month rather. And of course, there's great anxiety within the entire airline industry because of what was the conflict in the Middle East. And he spoke with Varma, the CEO of Caribbean Airlines, Varma Kilawan, about the matter and the fact that there was a deal signed between Iran and the United States last week, and that makes them hopeful that the price of jet fuel, which had gone up as a result of that conflict and the close of the Strait of Hormuz, and is hopeful that the jet fuel prices will come down, and that may also allow for, you know, airline prices to come down and increase the amount of travel that we were seeing around the world, because some people would have been skeptical that the prices were skyrocketing and that may have changed their plans about travel. And that's good news to the Caribbean because, of course, as you mentioned, even though we are a short distance apart, some of these shorter trips, the cost ratio is not in favor of some of the airlines, and that is actually why some of the prices are a little bit higher than when you would see a flight to Miami, where there's high traffic and better fuel economy for these airlines. So that topic is very much a burning one. A lot of people who would like to see that interregional connectivity. He did speak to the head of Inter-Caribbean, CEO Trevor Sadler, about passenger numbers as well, and that Caribbean connectivity that we are all yearning for as well. So it is a good read by Brent Pinheiro.
I'm seeing Anthony's story. It treats with HDC. He says different HDC process, same outcome. What's the takeaway from this HDC expose?
Well, it's just asking more questions of that now cancelled $3.4 billion contract that was issued by the government. Even though it was cancelled, he says he's still raising questions, and there are valid questions that still have to be asked by the Office of Procurement Regulation of Trinidad and Tobago. And he really wants to get into it in terms of understanding if proper processes will be followed by this government and the HDC with regard to these contracts being handed out. So it really is an assessment of how the contract was awarded in the first place and what will happen going forward, if we will see the processes that are on the books followed, so that people in Trinidad and Tobago, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, can see that these state entities are following the process and making sure that ultimately the taxpayers get value for dollar in these contracts and agreements that are signed by the government and state entities.
Pete, as always, all the best, my friend. We'll touch base soon. Have a great, great Thursday.
Same to you, and all the best to you and your team, and I hope Trinidad and Tobago has a great Thursday and a great weekend as well. That's right, Peter Christopher, business journalist, consummate professional, really, a man who is passionate about his particular assignment when it comes to business. Everyone in business knows Peter by name, by face. Really amazing guy. All the best, Pete. Thanks for touching base. Up next, we get into a very important discussion regarding the UK report on TNT gangs. I'm joined by Zahir Ali, my good colleague and friend. He's going to treat with this, and we'll get some clarity going forward. See you soon.
Surfside Pool and Leisure is the exclusive distributor of Haywood Pool products in Trinidad and Tobago. We stock industry-leading pumps, high-performance filters, pool chemicals, and sanitizers to keep your pool performing at its best. When it's time to relax, explore our range of floats, loungers, toys, and pool accessories designed for the perfect backyard experience. Visit us 150 Boundary Road, San Juan, 78 SS Aaron Road, San Fernando. Top brands, expert advice, trusted service. Call 235-7665.
Lucozade, bring the energy. Unbeatable taste, new look.
Welcome to a new era of driving in Trinidad and Tobago. Let me introduce to you Omoda and Jaco, two global automotive brands, redefining style, technology, and performance. This is just the beginning.
The fact that they ask the questions, those challenging questions that no other media house would ask. To, shed light on those things that are in the dark, those stories that no one else wants to cover.
I grew up reading The Guardian, actually. It's a household name. About The Guardian, one thing that I like, the human interest stories have increased.
See the investigative pieces on the human trafficking. I find that very interesting.
You go more in depth.
On sports, especially local sports, and that's one of my highlights for The Guardian.
Yeah, I've been in Guardian since The Guardian started coming out, started working. I was a newspaper man.
Could the stories that are being covered are well detailed and you get more facts.
Also, I think the editorials, I think they're doing a good job and they're speaking the truth, and they're challenging the government to make things better.
Me in particular, of recently, the last 2-3 months, I've been reading The Guardian. I'm seeing a lot of news about the neighborhoods and the communities, and I even saw my community featured, and I was proud.
Oh, The Guardian.
The Guardian?
Guardian. Trinidad Guardian.
The Guardian.
The Guardian.
Trinidad Guardian. The Guardian is my first choice.
Director of Policy and Community Support under the umbrella of the Ministry of Homeland Security, Zahir Ali. He joins me, and as always, great to have you on set. We always get into very open, honest discussions, and based on some of what's in the news cycle, I really want some clarity, especially coming from your particular office, and that's to treat with the UK report on gangs in Trinidad and Tobago. As a matter of fact, it was on the front page of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, I believe, yesterday. And we had a little deep dive, but I'm happy you're here to bring some more clarity. Good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning to you, GW. It's always a pleasure to be here, and good morning to Trinidad and Tobago and those who may be viewing and listening to us this morning.
I understand we have been on their radar for quite a while, Trinidad and Tobago, and the gang activity happening here. So what happened with the, I guess, pulling of, or at least the request for the visa, was something that, as much as was a shock to citizens, more or less people behind the scenes kind of knew it was coming. I want to ask you, based on reports out of the UK, whether it be Scotland Yard or other agencies, is it documented that Trinbagonians would have gone there and we got involved in any kind of criminal activity, drug running, petty crime, serious crime? What's the real core of that particular judgment? Was it pertains to us? If we want to go to the UK in the morning, we have to go through a visa.
Yes. What I'll say, GW, in relation to the article, the intelligence would have been clear. A couple of months, maybe about a year, a little more than that, that persons who are defined as criminal gangs, leaders, gang members, were in fact migrating to England, and the intelligence would have suggested that they would have been seeking protection through the asylum process and other processes. So that's the intelligence. But in terms of the report, and where I sit as policy and community support in the Ministry of Homeland, I want to say that the declaration was in fact concerning, not surprising. And from a deep dive into the report, from my reading, as of 2023, we saw 180 odd gangs. But while I am concerned, on the other hand, I feel comforted, and I'll tell you why I'm feeling comforted this morning. Sometime in March of 2026, both state and non-state actors under the Ministry of Homeland and other ministries, state agencies, non-state actors, directed focus on the vulnerable youths in Trinidad and Tobago. And one of the vulnerabilities was exactly what is in that particular report, in terms of young people being recruited to criminal gangs. And I'm comforted to say that from March to now, discussions and actions are being taken. And I just would like to identify 2 responses. And I think it's important so that Trinidad and Tobago, the citizenry, will recognize that long before the report comes, actions will be taken. And the first thing I'd like to signal is this multi-sectoral and educational engagement, psychosocial, that we are speaking about, where we're engaging our nation's schools. Because in the report you had where the persons were being recruited even from the schools into these criminal gangs. So this psychosocial intervention and educational engagement was geared towards building that resilience where our young people are concerned, helping them to make the right choices, and they understand the consequences of joining criminal gangs. And to complement that, we recognize that if young people are being recruited and joining gangs, there must be an element of parenting. And the complementary approach was a national parenting seminar for parents to appreciate and understand their duties, role, and functions, including their duty under the anti-gang legislation. And in a short while, JW, with your leave, I want to identify at least 2 offenses under that anti-gang legislation to direct it for parents if they did not know, that they should now become aware so that they can assist in this response to ensure that our young people are not falling into the hands of these criminal gangs. So to summarize, yes, I'm concerned, but I'm also comforted because of the responses from the state and non-state actors to be able to deal with this issue.
So clearly it's been a proactive approach based on what you're suggesting here, what you're telling me, that's been a work in action to pull young people away from these gangs. Because I guess the ultimate question is, why are these gangs so attractive to the youth?
Well, that's an excellent question, and hence why, if we are leaving a void, and I'm using the word avoid, if we have the young people in our education system or even at a community level, and the professionals, as I always said, the criminologists, the psychologists, the police officers, the prison officers, the corporate Trinidad and Tobago, we are not finding ways to engage these young people with positive activities. What you're going to find, you're going to keep a void, or you're going to create a void where these criminal gangs are going to penetrate a vulnerable youth who's looking for what? Looking for recognition, looking for opportunities. And what is the recognition and opportunities these criminal gangs will give these young people? The opportunity to what? Hold a firearm? The opportunity to what? Lead 2 or 3 persons in criminal activities. And hence why we need to now take back that space. And hence why the psychosocial intervention that I spoke about a short while ago is to bring the society in a multi-sectoral way to engage the education system and by extension the communities to speak to these young people. Recently, I must make mention, I brought Dwayne Bravo to join a multi-sectoral response using sport to be able to redirect these persons. So I'm very comforted, and I want to use that word this morning in JW. I'm comforted because when I saw the report, I smiled, and I smiled with humility, knowing that since March we recognized that there was a need to look at our vulnerable youths in Trinidad and Tobago. And I want to identify the Minister of Homeland Security, the Ministry of Homeland Security, the Permanent Secretaries, Ministry of Education, Social Development, the Children's Authority, the TTPS, the Prison Service, non-state actors, the Association of Psychologists, the social workers, the criminologists. Their response was really inspiring, and I think that that is what you want to be able to deal with a report like this.
Now, Mapi, we're able to identify what's happening because to the layman out there, there is this assumption that nothing is being done, you know.
Yes.
But the reality is when we have these programs, we're able to identify, because I see in real time, because I myself would have been invited to go to the schools, it's just the timing did not align just yet. I would have had prior commitments, but I still give that commitment on air.
Yes.
When you're going to any other school, I know school is going to be out soon, but I'll be there.
Thank you.
But Mabs, I want to ask you, when you've stepped into those vulnerable schools, what's been your observation with those young people, especially the ones that unfortunately, the schools that would have been making the news for the wrong reasons?
Very simple, Jay. These young persons want to be engaged. These young persons want to see the JW. These young persons want to see the Dwayne Bravo. These young persons want to listen to the psychologists. So they are with their educators. But this fresh injection, this is something that is very significant. This is something that when you are telling your life story, For example, when I brought that inmate from the prison to tell the story of getting involved in gang activities and what was the consequences that flow, I saw an audience. If a pin dropped, you could have heard that pin, how they were switched on, they were interested. We are bringing it real to them. So they want to be spoken to, they want to be engaged, and they also want to be heard. So that in the open forum, when they're engaging, they're asking very piercing questions. So, I thought that was significant because, we have been calling on the citizenry to come forward and play their role. As I said before, any person, Jay, who has a story that can inspire the nation youths, we are opening our hands to bring that person on board, to be able to speak and engage our nation youths. Permit me to say at this point, JW, I think this is important this morning as well, that when I heard the 11 to 14 age group mentioned in the report of persons who joining criminal gangs, we're looking at from a primary into a secondary, which is very concerning. But I want to identify this morning to the parents. Under the anti-gang legislation, which is the law in Trinidad and Tobago, any person who harbors, and this any person could be a parent, a guardian, a caregiver, who harbors a gang member or a gang leader, and if that gang member or that gang leader is a child, and you are harboring that child, meaning that you're knowing that child is involved in criminal activities, you are committing a very serious criminal offense, which we are talking about 25 years penalty if you are charged and convicted. Very serious matter.
What's the difference between being a gang member and just being associated with gangsters? Because there are some young people who might just lime on the block with the gangsters, but then might not necessarily be part of the gang. What stage or what is the process that brings you officially into the fold of that gang?
I'm happy how you're cutting away into the legislation, JW. So we have two definitions. A gang member is someone who belongs to a gang or associates with a gang-related activity. That's a deeper involvement. The one that you're speaking about where someone basically they are wrong, they're in your periphery.
Yeah, you like to line with bad boys. You like the energy. It has women who like that. It have guys who just like to be around that kind of energy, but they're not really involved. They're not robbing or getting involved, but they're just in the space.
Right. So what we can look at in terms of where the law is concerned, you have another offense where someone who supports, finances, counsels, could also be caught in that area where they are not a gang member in terms of belonging, where there's that deep attachment, but they can, the fact that they're on the block, and just using this as an example, they can be lending what? Support. They can be lending support in many different ways. They could even be counseling, say, Jay, don't worry, we could, you could do this. So you have to look at the engagement, you have to look at the involvement, and these things, when you're investigating these things properly, you're going to determine whether someone is an established gang member, which means that there's a belongingness. Over a period of time, that person has been living with the criminal gang, and then when you investigate, you may also see someone who now comes on board, but playing a more, if to use this term, an indirect role, but still playing a role where the criminal gang is concerned. So very significant. And that takes me to the second area that I want to identify, that where we talk about harboring, recruitment of criminal youths into criminal gangs. And let me say that's a very, very serious offense as well. In the anti-gang legislation, any person, and this is a significant part, within 500 meters of a school, on the premises of a place of worship. This is where the law went to protect our nation's children, so that no gang member or no gang leader should be within 500 meters of a school engaging any young man or woman to be able to be trying to get them into criminal gangs. So two very significant matters, and that takes me straight into the area of parents this morning. I make a humble but a strong call to you all, that the recruitment, you need to pay attention to your children to see whether they are being recruited. And secondly, if you are aware that your child is involved in a gang, whether it be gang member, gang leader, supporting a gang, you need to take the necessary steps. Otherwise, you can be charged for a criminal offense.
And what's that? Well, give an example of a step a parent should take. Let's say the child is coming home with electronics or certain paraphernalia that they did not purchase, and they recognize the child is coming home late. They suspect this child is part of a criminal enterprise. What does a parent do in that regard?
Well, there are several avenues that they can take. You can communicate with the police immediately. You can also communicate with the Children's Authority to be able to get these agencies involved to say, listen, I need help to be able to manage this child. I've recognized this child is associated with gang A. This child is coming home with particular items, and we need to get involved. And remember, when we're looking at children, JW, we need to have that balanced approach in terms of what's in the best interest of the child. So that's why I'm asking parents this morning, do not wait for the law enforcement agencies to investigate and find you culpable for harboring that child. Take the steps to get that child out of that gang by engaging the TTPS early, engaging the Children's Authority, and these agencies will know what are the next steps to take as it relates to that child and that child's involvement.
And I mean, we are both parents, and I could understand why a parent might probably be a bit tentative, because obviously you don't want your child to now go in the system, get rough up. I guess there is that fear. What happens when, let's say, the parent they take your advice? They would, of course, report that this child is XYZ. Is it a soft approach? Is it a hard approach? How do you all engage a child who is caught in that web at this point in time?
And a beautiful question as well. If you are taking a proactive step, to use that word, to link with the TTPS or the Children's Authority to say my child is in need of care and protection by virtue of being exposed to a criminal gang, that is what the law is pushing parents to do, to exercise that due diligence, to get the help. If you do not take this step, what will happen is that you yourself will be committing a criminal offense, because you cannot know and not do anything about it, and that's the significance. We cannot divorce a parent from a child. And if a child is engaging in criminal activities and a parent is aware, that parent's best option is to get to the authorities immediately to say, listen, I'm aware that my child is involved in criminal gang activities. I need help. I need an intervention. If you do not do that, you are condoning a criminal offense, or you're bringing a criminal offense upon yourself. Do not wait on the law enforcement agencies to knock on your door to say that you are not obliged, because they are aware that you knew that that child was maybe trafficking for a gang, stashing items for a gang, engaging in money laundering activities for a gang. You knew, and perhaps you probably were benefiting as well, and you did not take steps to be able to save that child and save yourself in the process. So the anti-gang is a legislation, when you look at the long title, was to suppress gang activity, was to promote public safety. And I think this morning, JW, when I saw that article, I think was important from a policy context, from a community engagement context, to not only tell this nation about the response and the actions that have been taken to be able to save our nation youth, but also to signal this too strong advice to parents in relation to how serious the anti-gang legislation can impact them if they are not careful.
You know, Ali, the reality is that what you're saying is spot on, but we find ourselves where there's so many, especially at this point in time, going through some really hard times, and there are some parents who turn a blind eye based on the economic circumstance. The child is bringing home resources, bringing home, the child is almost becoming like a breadwinner, and sometimes a parent might turn a blind eye. And I wonder, the parents who condone that behavior and allow it to fester, if the spend could be a greater spend down the road, because I'm thinking, obviously, if they're in trouble now, you have to deal with lawyers. It's a whole different spend. So what you want to say to that parent this morning who, the economic circumstance is really severe, and the child is out there on the hustle, probably part of a gang, bringing home resources, and they're turning a blind eye?
That's always a very sensitive position, JW. But what I want to say to the parents, lean on the side of engaging the authorities. If you are engaging in activities where you are viewed as possessing proceeds from crime, or you are benefiting from proceeds of crime, you are putting yourself in the realm of criminality. If you engage the TTPS, you engage the Children's Authority. The Children's Authority have access to child attorneys so that you could get the necessary support to be able to rehabilitate that child, to protect yourself. So it's a decision that you have to make, because if you don't make that decision and an investigation reaches your door, the same economic activity that you speak, or the economic circumstances that you're talking about, it would not prevent you from being charged and placed before the court and make a jail, as the case may be. So it's a decision you have to make to be on the right side and engage the state agencies. And JW, I want to say this. We have ministries like social development and other ministries. If you are in an economic situation, are you really engaging these ministries properly to be able to get the assistance? Or are you really putting yourself out to say, okay, maybe you need to engage a corporate Trinidad and Tobago to be employed, to be able to see about yourself and your children? We need to be taking these steps and not just lay back, be idle, and looking for an easy way, and then saying, okay, look at our economic situation. So I know it's a sensitive matter, but I want to say that the rule of law exists, and criminal activities would not be condoned.
Director Ali, is there any protection in place for the parent or child that decides to, come to the authorities to I guess, when you want to pull yourself out of this web that you found yourself in? But I'm thinking here, if the criminal elements feel you might talk, you might give information on the operation. I'm trying to figure if there's any protection in place for those who come forward to the authorities.
And another beautiful question. Jay, you will read in this thing carefully, and hence why I'm going to basically descend by indicating that the response to enforcement of the anti-gang legislation and asking persons to come forward, come out of that life, report that, come to the authorities, it requires a proper structure and a proper system which will include that level of protection. So we must also be setting up the systems to encourage these persons to come forward, and come forward in ways that they're not exposing themselves to harm. So my call this morning as well, that anti-gang legislation, very powerful legislation, but respectfully, and perhaps where I sit in a golden position to speak with the Honorable Minister and other officers, is to really look at a proper structure, system, to put that legislation into effect, to be able to achieve effectively the objectives that we are talking about. Because you could not have been more right this morning, that if I have identified the law, if I have pushed the parents to come forward, get these children out, of course, there must be a structure and a system that are willing to accommodate these children and their parents if they are coming forward, coming out of a life of gang and gang-related activities.
As we wrap things up, Director Ali, are you still optimistic? Are you still hopeful? I mean, you sit in a very interesting space now. You have a seat where you're engaging with the young people. You're putting policy to protect them. But when you go on the ground and you really see the lived reality of the moment, are you optimistic?
I will always be optimistic, JW. And we cannot, and I say we, all of us in Trinidad and Tobago, we cannot surrender this fight. We cannot surrender this fight. Once we have life within us, there's always something that we can do. And hence why I thought this morning, I cannot harp on this. Concerning, the headline is concerning, but I'm comforted knowing that there are a number of responses, strategies that are unfolding to be able to reverse that headline and to save our nation youths. And on the reverse, it's important that if we identify 180 odd gangs, that there's also a need for strong arm enforcement to be able to deal with it. So you have both the primary and the secondary. But I thought it was also important as well with those two offenses. Sometimes as a country, and we don't read. And it was important for me to take those two offenses and put it in the public domain. One, just to repeat, any person who recruits a child to a criminal gang commits a criminal offense. And two, any person who harbors a criminal gang leader or gang member, and that gang leader or gang member is a child, also commits a criminal offense. And it was saying any person. That any person could be a parent, a guardian, or a person with responsibility for the child. So we need to be guarded, we need to be warned. And if you are aware of those circumstances, I urge you, I advise you strongly this morning, engage the authorities, TTPS, the Children's Authority, and from there, they will take the necessary steps to protect you and that child.
And the framework suggests that a child, we're talking 18 and under.
That's correct. 18 and under, according to the laws of Trinidad and Tobago.
Director Ali, always a pleasure.
Thank you very much, JW, for the opportunity.
For sure, we will touch base soon. I'll really make some time to join you on the school tour.
I will appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Full speed ahead. We take a pause and we come back. Stick around.
Looking for the ultimate gaming experience? Welcome to Phase 22 Gaming Lounge, where gamers of all ages come to play, compete, and have fun. Dive into your favorite games on PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, or race on our high-tech racing rigs. And experience the thrill of VR with PlayStation and Meta Quest. Our lounge is safe, comfortable, and perfect for everyone. When you're done, check out the latest gaming systems, accessories, and even Samsung and Apple phones. Visit us on the second floor of Gulf City Mall or call 786-2404 to book your gaming session today. We are your one-stop, most convenient, most helpful, most caring community pharmacy. Our pharmaceutical services include dispensing medicines, repeat dispensing, clinical governance. But we also have a fully stocked convenience store featuring our refreshment aisle, grocery lane, personal care products, toys, pet supplies. We are most conveniently located out of the traffic, just 2 minutes off the highway in Heartland Plaza, Endeavour, Chaguanas. Contact us on 220-8705 or 470-5938 and visit us soon. Magical Expressions Limited is the largest local importer and distributor of fresh cut stems, offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us today at 701-6488 or visit our website to order.
The detergent smells nice while washing, but when you use the new Downy Intense fabric softener, with its new multi-capsule fragrance, it releases an intense scent that lasts twice as long. With the new Downy Intense, you'll enjoy a rich and delightful fragrance that keeps you feeling fresh 24/7.
In the ever-changing media landscape, we at Guardian Media strive always to put you, our viewers and readers, first.
We strive to uphold the time-honored tenets of responsible journalism.
For us, accuracy is key.
And in our reporting, we strive not only to be first, but fair,
impartial,
and to uphold journalistic integrity.
Above all, we are accountable to you, and we must respect the views of our audience. That is our solemn contract with you.
Keen attention to detail,
rigorous verification of facts.
Keep track of our editorial policies and guidelines, including our corrections policy, by logging on to www.guardian.co.tt for more.
This is more than just music. This is where you find the best of TNT. This is more than just a vibe. This is where Bollywood gets a twist. This is more than just energy. This is Bhangra and indie pop too. This is the mix. This is the life. Lock on or log on now. Sangeet 106.1 FM. This is authentic East Indian radio. This is us.
My own personal motto is to show citizens of this country that our stories can be told in a professional and international standard. I want to show them that the journalism they consume on cable TV can also exist here. Each day, that's my focus, that's my drive, to show the stories of our communities, of our people, matter just as much as anywhere else in the world. That's why we are where you are.
Get the story first. Want to know what's happening in news, sports, or crime? Get the CNC3 app. As the story breaks, CNC3 is there giving you the story first on your mobile device. Be connected to the most trusted and reliable news source, CNC3. Access your world with just a tap. The CNC3 app. Download it today.
Tune in to Betterments with host Base, Monday through Thursday, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. for a program that educates and is solution-based. Base tackles the issues that matter to you, providing a platform to speak your mind and find solutions. That's Betterments with Base, with a focus on education and resolution. This is all about making things better for you. So if you want to make a difference and have your voice heard, tune into Freedom 106.5 FM and join us for Betterments with Base, Monday through Thursday from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Better for you. Only on Freedom 106.5 FM, where we believe that your voice matters.
Well, the police and news segment, a bit different this morning. We are getting ready for a tremendous occasion. We want you to put on your running shoes because on the 5th of July, not this Sunday, the following Sunday, we get ready for this 5th annual 5K walk and 7K run. And it's all part of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Cancer Survivors and Patient Support Group. It's a fundraising event, and with me, we want to welcome the, of course, Superintendent Richard Taylor, chairperson, I believe, for this amazing occasion, and also cancer survivor, from what you would have told me.
Of course.
And we have, of course, logistics coordinator Clayton Ince, a national National landmark. Yes, good friend of mine. Gentlemen, welcome. And let me tell you, great engagement. I'm seeing it's the fifth occasion, the fifth time you're doing this. Yes. Walk me through the importance, I probably want to start with Chairman Taylor here in terms of the importance and what you anticipate is going to be the biggest takeaway, what you want to be the takeaway from this event on Sunday the 5th.
All right, so good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Thanks very much for the introduction. Very importantly, and most importantly, is that early detection saves lives. With men in particular, men are very apprehensive to get themselves checked. And I just want to go back to my issue. I started having my prostate checked and so on at the age of 40. And because of that, I was able to detect early the prostate cancer. And well, by God's grace, I'm here today. Yes. So it's very important that you get your checks, and your early detection is what helps save lives. So it's very important.
And I would imagine, Clayton, that's why, you know, that push towards wellness, moving the body, being active.
Yes, being active into it, and plus also being active not on the sporting side, but also going and get your medical checkups on a regular basis. Because at the end of the day, we don't know what's happening to our body. We change every day. So going and having these regular checks is important to us men, especially at the older age, to make sure that we are in a healthy lifestyle. So
outside of the walk and the run, I would imagine there are going to be booths, there are going to be remarks. It's going to be almost like a village, really, you're presenting on the day.
More or less, yes. So we'll have our medical staff from the police health facility there. There are other persons who will be doing blood testing and things like that. And we'll be talking about having a healthy lifestyle. And we are trusting that this year we will cross a 500 participation.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking based on the location alone is attractive. That Chaguaramas early morning, it is so beautiful, that Macreep stretch. I'm seeing Salmon Park. Start time, I'm seeing 6:30. How does one register and what's the cost?
Well, the registration, we have a scan code on the flyer itself, and then we have the registration fees $175. Where that we get a jersey, you get a medal, and as I say, we get there and you get refreshments.
Beautiful medal. You should show them the medal. It's
the medal?
It's on. It's here. If you look at the flyer.
Oh, that's it. Oh,
yeah.
So let me tell you.
So that you can zoom in on it and look at it.
And people collect the medals. Let me tell you, people don't play with the medals.
Yeah.
That's a serious part of it. But I'm seeing some interesting categories. Let's go through it one by one. Male open, the female open. You have the children under 18. Oldest male, oldest female, youngest child, male and female. So individual prizes too for certain categories.
Yes, we have individual prizes too, and then we have special prizes for on the day itself. You know, I mean, who knows? You could get a special prize for just being unusual.
Yes.
So it's all in fun, but it's all for a purpose and a cause.
You all have chosen Chaguaramas, as I would have mentioned. So interesting. Most people do 5Ks, Savannah. You know, people will have their particular locations in the city. Walk me through that intentional decision to go down to the west.
So that area is an area where you find normally a lot of people go there to have that sort of serenity, where they can exercise and enjoy nature. And cancer survivors, patients, we want to encourage that type of mindset, where you can go to an environment where it's an healthy environment, a lot of nature, the air is fresh, and it's away from the fumes and fog that you'll get in Port of Spain where you run. So it's a nice and quiet area.
I'm seeing walk, run, support together, we make a difference. In terms of the funds being raised, where are you going to pull the resources? Where are the resources going in terms of this particular ethos and mandate?
Well, we try to offset and help officers in certain medical ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We try to even not only just for medical, some officers might be locked in groceries and other stuff. So we try to fit in and try to make the officer who is a cancer patient or survivor as comfortable as possible in going through their process.
Well said. Well, again, the numbers there on the screen, 766-6340. Superintendent Taylor and, of course, Clayton, great to see you. I know there's some footballs that's going to take place after the run. I know Ian Wason, I think, will treat with that later. But again, gentlemen, thanks for being here. And congrats in advance on this 5K It's a 5K walk, but a 7K run.
Right. And we want to encourage persons to come out, walk and run, because there are persons who can't run, obviously. But the running aspect of it is highly competitive. So there are different prizes for those that run as opposed to those who walk. But everyone is a winner, so everyone gets a medal.
Indeed. Well done. Great initiative, and kudos to the TTPS and all and sundry for putting this on. We get ready for the 7 a.m. news update. Much more after 7. I suppose.
Time Check, brought to you by the Central Bank and the National Financial Literacy Program.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Jesse Ramdale with headline news here on CNC3 and the TBC Radio Network. A West Moorings businessman and his wife were detained by the police as part of an ongoing investigation. A senior police official confirmed the detention but declined to say why the couple was held or what charges they were facing. Guardian Media understands that plainclothes officers from a specialist unit arrived at the couple's home around 5 a.m. on Wednesday, following which they executed a search warrant and seized several electronic devices, including laptops and cell phones from the occupants. While the public information officer for the TNT Police Service was unable to answer questions relating to the arrest, the organization issued a release confirming that the arrests had resulted from an ongoing investigation. The TDPS emphasized that the execution of a warrant is a standard investigative procedure and does not constitute a finding of wrongdoing. The TTPS also urged that no conclusions should be drawn regarding the status of any individual until investigations are completed and any evidence is properly assessed in accordance with due process. In other news, TNTech has threatened to sue Port of Spain South MP Keith Scotland and a member of his law chamber over the representation they provided in its bid to recover approximately $2.4 million in unpaid electricity charges from now defunct ice cream manufacturer Flavorite Foods Limited. The legal threat against Scotland and another member of Virtus Chamber was made in a pre-action protocol letter sent yesterday by TNTech's lawyers led by senior counsel Anand Ramlogan of Freedom Law Chambers. The letter was sent a little over a week after Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar raised concerns over the duo's professional conduct in Parliament. In the correspondence obtained by Guardian Media, attorney Ganesh Sarup claimed professional negligence, breach of contract, fraudulent and or negligent misstatement and deceit against the duo. Scotland acknowledged the letter and indicated that he would respond through his attorney. And Father Martin Sergiu says economic hardship is being felt across Port of Spain. He made the comment on Wednesday during an interfaith service at the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception as the City Corporation celebrated its 112th anniversary. Father Sergiu reminded the congregation that while financial strain is being felt across the globe, it's hitting especially hard here in the capital.
I'm working in Port of Spain for the past 8 years, and more people are hungry this year compared with the other years that I've been here. More people coming for food and things like that.
Well, stay tuned for another news update at the top of the hour and for comprehensive coverage in our midday news and major newscast at 7 p.m. on CNC3.
Panadol's new formula, 5 times faster than other paracetamol brands. There's no time to waste during special moments. When I need fast pain relief, I choose Panadol Rapid. With its new formula and exclusive technology, it's 5 times faster than other paracetamol, giving me effective pain relief. And it's also gentle on my stomach. Because my greatest gift is giving them special moments.
Period nights don't have to look like this. Move less, wake up to change. So change for a real night's sleep with Always Overnight. Its 3 times protection system absorbs, locks the fluid, and keeps it away from your skin. For protected nights without leaks. Always.
You can make your goals unfold, go get it. You can live your dream, join the team, let's do this. You can get the help you need to succeed with Rand Credit Union. You can believe that you can achieve. Big goals, small ones too. Rand Credit Union, we've got you. No more waiting, that won't do. Make someday today. One life, so make it good. Live the way you know you should. With Rand Credit Union, yes you could. Make someday today.
Live your best life today with Rand Credit Union.
Love eating spicy food, but soon after, that familiar discomfort begins. Heartburn, acid reflux, and bloating. Introducing Peptica Gel, formulated with aluminum hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide, and simethicone to help neutralize excess acid. It's sugar-free with no chalky aftertaste and a pleasant orange flavor. Peptica Gel works fast to relieve heartburn, acid reflux, gas, and bloating, so you can feel comfortable again and get back to enjoying life. Peptica Gel, get the relief you need today. Available at pharmacies nationwide.
UNC Iodike joins me for our Mental Health Matters segment. Not live on set this morning. He is parked and ready to share with us. UNC is on the Zoom line. Good morning to you. Welcome as always.
Good morning, Jason. Good morning to everybody viewing.
Inside the second hour, UNC, we want to start with a most interesting topic, and it says here, are you patient or afraid? I want you to elaborate on this one, UNC.
Exactly. Now, fear is something that most of us many times hesitate to face. And it's something we don't even like to admit that we're really afraid. And we use virtues to kind of mask it. So let's just say you have an important project to do, you have some courses to start, you have to confront your child about something, but you'd say, no, I'm taking my time now, right? I'm patient, I don't want to rush it. But what it really is that you're afraid. Tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, I guess, probably you're reading the room, reading the person, because after a while you kind of get to learn someone's behavior, and at least people who might have a certain level of emotional intelligence might wait till the opportune moment to share probably or break some kind of bad news or bring up some kind of concern as opposed to those who just want to deal with it right now and the person just switch off. So I don't know, is it like a kind of reading the room process?
Well, that part is about you being honest to yourself, because there is the skill of reading the room, but there's also the realization for your own self what it is your real feelings are. Because, again, many times we feel fear first, right? But we don't want to feel the fear, and we don't like to admit that we're afraid. So we find euphemistic words and euphemistic phrases like reading the room. Now again, nothing wrong with reading the room, but you have to be honest about what it is you're really doing, because some people end up reading the room for longer than necessary. They read the room for 6 months, they read the room for a year, and then didn't really do what they're supposed to, because the genesis feeling was fear, not necessarily that emotional intelligence.
You think the fear is for what they might do? Because there's those who are afraid of confrontation because they don't know how to manage confrontation, and they might just fly off the handle. So they rather avoid it at all costs.
You're correct, but still, that core way saying there, I am afraid of confrontation. I want to avoid confrontation. And that's where sometimes a lot of us base our life and even our values around fear, but we call it something else. So somebody could say, no, I am a virtuous person. I don't confront. I'm not aggressive. I don't fight. But the truth is, it's not any of those things that you're really afraid that you can't fight, that you're afraid of any sort of confrontation, whether it is verbal or even physical. But you say and you build yourself up as virtuous, but it's really fear.
Well, I mean, I wonder, because there are some who as I said, they're afraid of themselves. They're afraid of the direction they might go. There's some people who have no chill, as we know. And I mean, you probably treat with that all the time, where anger management is used and people who fly off the handle and literally they black out and they could physically like take somebody's life if they go into a place of darkness and anger, and we see it with the kind of frustration on the road. So I believe some people naturally walk away because they just don't want to. I think the fear could be of your own self, how you will treat with a situation, not knowing.
Very true, and that's a good point. And most times, that person who are afraid to fly off the handle is because they're holding it in for a long time. I'd even go statistically. I will go in my own experience, both personal and professional. It's better to just let it out one time, all the time. Whenever we trying to find the right time, sometimes the right time don't exist to me, because they could say, nah, I don't want to spring it on them because it's the end of the day and they're tired. Then nah, it's the end of the week. Then nah, it's the birthday coming up. Then it's Christmas. Then it's something, and we could always try to delay because we're trying to, one, control and predict the future because of fear. Instead of just stating the truth in the most respectful way you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because fear, you're so spot on. It's such a debilitating, almost crippling kind of emotion. It could really prevent you from so much, and I wonder if the fear is really of self or of probably mashing up the said relationship or mashing up the momentum of whatever you're building. And fear really creeps in a major way, and sometimes we delay, as you rightfully said, because of fear.
Correct. And whether it is your fear of yourself or the other person, either way, fear is something we imagine. I show everybody listening, anything you are afraid of, when it actually happens, is never as bad as we think it is. But we make up this thing in our mind. And as you say, it can be so debilitating that we don't want to face it, that we make up a whole new life for our own. We have some people who make a career in a certain field because they're afraid to do something else. But they say, no, I am a this, but you really wanted to be something else, but you was afraid to go into it. And you create a whole life around your fear because you didn't want to face it.
No, but fear is real, because I could tell you, for me, I had a tremendous fear of heights. There's still a slight something there, because anytime I go, let's say I'm overseas, and if I'm in a hotel and it's a high rise and there's a balcony and I go out on the balcony, I'm telling you, Johansen, I naturally feel a bit giddy at first, and then I'm actually climatized and I'm much more comfortable on the balcony. But when I look over the first time, Johansen, I'm always very, like physically, as going to a kind of place, boy. But as take a deep breath and eventually I'm able to overcome it.
Right. Now, the thing is, Jason, that actually is not fear, That is caution, right? And that's your body using caution. Caution is something that is real. Height is something real. That's not imagined. If I'm, however high up I am, that is real. So therefore, exercising caution is based in evidence base. But fear is something based in imagination. And we could conjure up anything in our mind because we are afraid. We could sit down and some people come up with whole scenarios, that debilitate them and stop them from making any step. But if its caution is you see an accident happen, you could get injured from something, so you're moving a certain way around it. That is not necessarily fear.
Oh, caution and fear. Okay, understood, man. You want to say, as always, you have the final say. Take us out.
Nation, if you have fear, it's better to face it. It may be difficult at first, but if you don't, it could complicate your life. Because even though life is not easy, it's really not that hard. Thank you for listening.
You want to say IODK joining us in a parked vehicle this morning. All the best, you want to say, be safe, man. Be safe out there on the black carpet. Safe travel on the gravel, man. So with that, we're going to pivot to a tremendous showcase that's going to happen this Sunday at Songforge. It's the Canvas Concert 2026 Unplugged. Full details from the event producer next.
Life. What a wonderful journey we're on. Each stage is unique. And at Tata Life, we not only understand, but also appreciate that you'll have different needs at different times. So trust us to protect you and yours with our comprehensive range of financial planning solutions to ensure that you never, ever have to worry. To learn more, contact a Tata Life advisor or visit tatalife.co.tt today. For the many stages of your life, Tata Life, a member of the Ansa McCall Group.
Visit Tire Clinic Marketing, New Truck and OTR Tire Service Center at number 30 and 32 Montrose Main Road, Chabonas. Call today at 665-8973 or 672-3419. Alignment services available. Tire Clinic Marketing, Truck and OTR Service Center. A tire for every need.
Low energy? Heart concerns? Migraines slowing you down? It's time to take control of your health. Join Wellness Unlocked, the series that brings expert advice and real solutions for a healthier you. In our latest episode, learn how Jameson CoQ10 can help support heart health, boost energy, and even reduce migraines. Get the science, the stories, and the steps to power up your health with CoQ10. Don't miss Wellness Unlocked. Watch now on CNC3 and start your wellness journey today.
Step into ABC Doors and Windows, where quality meets variety. Discover premium wooden, steel panel, fiberglass, and steel security doors alongside aluminum, UPVC, and steel windows designed for strength and durability. At ABC, we're always a better choice, delivering products built to last and service you can rely on. Visit our showroom at 1 Chanka Trace, El Socorro South, or call 638-7184 to make your dream home a reality.
Heart disease is the #1 cause of death in Trinidad and Tobago, driven by 2 silent threats, diabetes and high cholesterol. But now there's a powerful ally, introducing Berberine Plus by Asia Nutrition, clinically proven to stabilize blood sugar and keep cholesterol levels in check. With 99.9% pure extract, you get superior absorption and real results. Available now at Pennywise and leading pharmacies nationwide. Berberine Plus. Your heart deserves better.
Jarrell Saunders joins me live on set to give us details concerning Sunday's showcase, the Canvas Concert 2026, happening at Songforge, which I can safely say, Jarrell, it's now, to me, a home for music for the creatives. So many amazing shows in that space. I would have had my birthday party there some years ago, so I know the space well. Parking, everything readily available, and you could turn up the music too. You could turn up the sound.
Yeah, you don't have anything around restricting your sound and that kind of stuff.
That's right. And what's your start time for Sunday?
4 p.m. It's 4 till 12, yeah.
Excellent. So walk me through, just for myself and the patrons, what's the experience from 4 till 12?
Okay, so from 4 o'clock when you come in, we're going to be doing DJs and stuff, warming up the crowd. We're going to have stuff given away, food, that kind of stuff. After that, we're going to start with some performances from some local artists that up and coming, right? Because the intention is to have a space for that, for new artists, new talent, different sounds and that kind of stuff that people might not be familiar with, but very, very talented artists. So we start with them, and then after that, we get into the main show, right?
Of course, Cotain, and by all means, we're looking at, well, I'm seeing here based on some of the acts, the Jimmy October, the Christo, the Freetown. It's really, to me, that new wave. This is the next generation. Yes, we have the established names. We have the
Nadia.
Well,
she's established.
So Nadia's there. Mm-hmm. But I'm looking at some of the space that's opening up for others, and I'm so happy. And obviously, it's outside of the actual, I guess the cycle or the concert moment, and I guess that was obviously intentional.
Yes, that is completely intentional. So we chose the time of the year and all of that to reflect the fact that we wanted to be different. This is a concert, it's not a fete or something like that. It's a concert. You're coming out and you are going to be performed too. This is to showcase the local music, the local sound, the range of the sound that is available, and as you mentioned, it's to highlight the newer voices in the sound. basically.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing live band will be back in, of course, Cotain and the artist. Who's doing the musical accompaniment?
That would be the musical director as Joshua Keynes.
Excellent. Let me tell you, I mean, I just trying to envision it now because I'm sure there's going to be, you know, they're going to pretty up the stage, pretty up the venue. This is no normal. You just walk in and it's, as I said, it's not a fete, it's a concert.
It's a concert, exactly.
With a key, you understand? A canvas concert with a key. Obviously, tickets, where are they available and what's your cost?
So tickets are available on Island E. The only early bird sold out almost immediately, right? So what's available now is regular, right? And then coming up to the end of the week, I believe it, based on the trajectory, is going to start going into late bird territory, right?
Excellent.
You get them online at Island E, but we also have them available nationwide. People could check out the social media that lists all the locations because there are a fair amount of locations, but it's nationwide, north, south, east, west, central.
Cotain's audience, from your observation, and obviously I've seen firsthand that he's been able to tap into a fan base across the board, but what's been your observation as it pertains to Cotain's reach and his pull?
Right, so initially, our crowd was mostly younger people, initially, when we were on the rise and that kind of stuff. But as the sound has matured and as the music has grown, the audience actually is a wide range. You'd be surprised. Like we have someone reached out and it's 3 generations of the family there. So you have the young daughter, 19, you have the mother and the grandmother coming out. And I think that's because, particularly with some of the offerings from him that people consider to be soca, he harkens back to a lot of the older music. So you have things like Wedding Band referencing older songs that the older generation grew up on and is accustomed to. So the audience actually is now like a very wide spectrum. Let me tell you, I'm so happy for Cotain, you know, the new generation. Because you have seen, for many who might think they're just on the scene, trust me, these guys have been working on their craft for many years. So what you might think is what's happening overnight, when you see the glory, they don't know the story. And Cotain, he's been in the trenches. I remember going to Kingston years ago, Cotain there, fine-tuning his craft. You know him from back then, those days?
From back then, bro, I knew Cotain before the man bust big. Cotain, Christo, all of them fellas. Yeah. Because by Kingston, then you kind of get to see the next generation. Yes. That's a good friend, Kingston, who's an amazing vocal engineer.
Yeah,
in St. James.
And somebody who was more than willing to share his time and expertise to craft. Well, at that point, like you have to really, to see the diamond in the rough, in a sense, even when you know him himself or us, we can see what would ever be possible to see that and nurture that.
And that's a talent, Sherelle, because when you have producers or anyone who's around the business, you're able to see, okay, yeah, this person onto something, and you just give them words of encouragement. Because Cotain could tell you, I too would have been like, yeah, partner, you know, keep at it. And to see where he is now is just such a joy. It's such a warming of the heart, and it speaks to continuity, because let's be real, this art form, this music that we love, it's always that passing of the torch, really, is the next generation that will keep it alive. Because naturally, you know, people come, they go, you have your moment, but it's really the next. And I could safely say with Cotain and everyone on this cast, a matter of fact, we're in safe hands, you know. Look, full blown, and you mentioned full blown.
Yeah.
Full blown on the cast. I saw these guys about 2 weeks ago in the airport. They were going to New York. So happy for them.
Amazing guys. They as well, in terms of the mentorship and that kind of stuff. They don't ask for anything, and they're willing to pour out. And they have been in the industry for so long. And every door that they're able to open, they try to keep it open for us and for everybody else who coming through.
I love the energy. I see you make GBM flying back home for this one, right?
Yes, of course. GBM is flying back in.
What's the connection with GBM and because that's very, I mean, that for a man to come home in the middle of the year to do a concert, that means that there's some kind of special connection there.
Yeah, we have a connection with them for sure. And Tano, we have on the rhythm, we have a rhythm where we have a song, Tano has a song, and Kes has a song. right? And through that, we have a growing relationship with him. And to us, once again, somebody who has been in his sound for years, right? So we have a very close relationship with him. So once we say that we're doing something, he always ready to support.
That's good.
We just have to say, and he ready to fly down.
That's good. And I'm seeing Vaughn also flying in from Grenada for this one.
Yes, and that's because we want to do a regional show, basically, right? We want to show talent from around the region. One that came across here and showed a lot of love and respect to the crowd down here. And I also think that he has a sound that is representative of what we are trying to show, as you say, that next generation.
I know if Cass wasn't doing his show in New York on Saturday, he would have been here for sure, because I saw Cotain part of Cass's roots, soca and rock concerts tour out in Europe. I say, what, Cotain out there? I mean, I was so happy, and I was talking to Cass actually in Miami about last month.
Yeah.
And he spoke about their relationship during COVID, the writing, how Cotain used to take taxi, travel, you know?
Yeah.
From, I think, Grandy or someplace.
Grandy, yep.
Yeah, man, they'll be talking these stories, and Cass is saying that Cotain is a man would take a taxi, come meet them in studio, and they're vibing on music. So, you know, Cass, thank God he's such a great person with a good heart.
Yeah.
Did not forget that and brought Cotain on the European tour.
Yeah, and that was extremely intimidating, but very, very rewarding. You know, it's something that you wouldn't think that you were at that place. Like we really did not, and it was a very humbling experience, and we show a lot of love to Cass for what he's willing to do. Once again, pass the torch on, right? We see that with a lot of global stars and that kind of stuff, where you have someone who is at the top of the game, looking back and giving opportunity, passing the baton, making it easier for us to try to carry the culture forward.
Now I was talking about that, about sending the rope and bringing men up. That's the only way we could have progress in this thing called the music, the local circuit.
Yeah.
Before we wrap things up, Jarrell, again, to cameraman, tell me what's happening on Sunday. Put the details out one more time.
All right, so on Sunday, we have at Sound Forge from 4 to 12 p.m., Canvas concert. Right, tickets available online. Follow us on social media, follow the page Canvas Concert, and you can get all the details, including the entire cast and what to expect.
I mean, it's going to be tremendous, and it's happening Sound Forge early, you know, DJ juggling, set the mood, and then one live performance start is performance straight down the road from Christo to Full Blown to Freetown Collective, Kimmy, the Full Works, GBM, Vaughn, and of course the main course, the man himself, Cotain. Congrats. In advance, it's going to be a tremendous show. I'm going to make my way out, stepping in Ian Wason for the morning shot, and he's going to do that deep dive on sport and let you know what's happening for today's World Cup action. Ian Wason up next.
Okay, let me see you, Cherry Hill. Yeah, now take it back. Let me